Well, we're hoping we're done making firefighting videos for a while and we get back to doing something a little more entertaining, like shooting vintage firearms. Today we're talking about kind of a special one. This one is a Winchester Model 1895 saddle ring carbine. Now this one's kind of a standard saddle ring carbine, but what's unusual about it is the chambering. This one's in 303 British. And while that might be a real popular chambering in 1895s with our Canadian friends, there are very few of them here in the United States. So this one's a little unusual, but we're going to show you a couple more that are even more unusual coming up shortly. We've got a couple of Deluxe Model 1895 carbines, which is real unusual to have Deluxe carbines in any model, but the 1895s, they're particularly scarce. So we've got a couple of them here, original Deluxe carbines. I'm going to show them to you, and then we'll shoot them a couple of times. Now the 1895 carbines, some of you may already know this, but these were real popular with our President Teddy Roosevelt. You know, he and several of his officers in the Rough Riders during the Spanish-American War used these 1895 carbines. They bought them on their own dime rather than the Craig Jorgensens, and since they were chambered in 30-40 Craig, just like the Craig Jorgensen rifles that the military was using at the time, then the ammo was interchangeable with them. Of course, we know that Teddy Roosevelt went on to really admire the Model 1895s, took them on safari after he was president, particularly some 405 calibers that he coined the term, or called them the medicine gun for lions, which has been kind of changed and attributed to him as calling them big medicine, but actually that's not exactly what his quote was. But what a lot of people don't know is they were also a favorite of William Cody, Buffalo Bill. The few 1895 Deluxe carbines that I've seen, several of them have been inscribed from Buffalo Bill Cody presentation guns to some of his friends and business partners and acquaintances. So he obviously admired those as well, and I think I've probably seen 4 or 5 of them that have sold. Unfortunately, they sell for a whole lot more money than I can afford. But anyway, so we're gonna take you on a little trip here in a minute and take out these Deluxe carbines and see how they can perform after all these years. So here are these 2 Deluxe carbines we were talking about. As you can see, they're not closet queens. They've been there and done that, and probably put some food on the table. You know, it's unusual to see a pair of them together because there's so few of them out there. I just got really lucky, and I was in the right place at the right time a couple of times to pick these guys up. You'll notice that there are a couple of different options on these. One, the first one out front, has a saddle ring, so this is a true saddle ring carbine. The one in the back does not have a saddle ring and never did, because you can see that the receiver was never drilled for a saddle ring. So it's a standard carbine, and that's fairly common for the ones that came originally with a Model 21 receiver sight like this, because there's some interference with that saddle ring there with that receiver sight. So while this one is too late serial number wise to letter to know for sure that saddle ring or that Model 21 receiver sight came on it, I think because of the fact that it doesn't have a saddle ring, it's a pretty good indication that it came originally that way. Now you'll notice this one in front has a handguard, and this handguard even has some good figure in it, just like the figure in the rest of the wood. And this one in the back is missing a handguard, as so many of them were. A lot of people didn't like those handguards on top, or they got broken. They're very frail. So a lot of the carbines are missing those handguards. So these are really a neat couple of carbines. I feel pretty fortunate that they're in my collection. I have not shot either of them before today, so this will be a new experience. This one in front really being complete the way it is. If you look on this back side, just absolutely beautiful flame grain on the back side here. Then flame grain on this side of this one. Just love the wood on both of these carbines. This one's in a little rougher shape. It's got some pinprick prick pitting on it, and you know, missing the hand guard. Just a little rougher all around. I've even thought about maybe restoring that particular carbine at some time, but we'll see. It's hard to get yourself to restore a gun that's still in original condition, even if it's in really poor condition. So stick around. We're going to get set up, and we're going to put a few rounds through both of these carbines. It should be a real fun shoot. Okay, we're going to start off with this rougher of the two old carbines. And by the way, both of these are in 3040 Craig, which was really the most common of the 1895s produced for the domestic market. Of course, there was a whole bunch more produced in 7.62 by 54 rimmed for the Russians, but about 75% of the 1895s for the domestic market were produced in 3040 Craig. It was the standard military round at the time. So let's take a shot with this old girl. This one with the Model 21 receiver sight. I love these Lyman receiver sights. Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can't get that jug that fell off. That's a small target. Oh, I missed it. Let's see if we can get another jug. Oh! Now you see why it was the standard military round. That was great. Oh, that's great fun. The old girl still shoots pretty good. Okay, so let's try this other one. Now I left this one unloaded so you could see how to load an 1895. They're a little bit different. We take the cartridge, put the case head down so we load vertically, and then just rotate forward and push it down and it'll hold. The next one we'll do the same thing, and the next one, and the next one. So they'll hold 4 in the magazine, and you can put 1 in the chamber, so it's a 4+1 kind of a setup. I have to give a shout out to my good friend Roland Warmuth. He's a big fan of these Deluxe Carbines, so this one's kind of dedicated to him today. Okay, let's see what this one will do. Let's get one of those milk jugs. Oh, that does it. I better not waste any milk jugs. One more. Let's see. We'll go ahead and see if we can hit some steel. Well, okay. There you have it. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful Deluxe 1895 carbine. Doesn't get much better than that. Now, most people don't really think of 1895 Winchesters as Old West firearms. I think mostly because we didn't see John Wayne packing them in the old westerns that us old-timers grew up with. But I've got one of the earliest survivors, serial number 29. It's a well-used old ranch rifle off of a ranch in southern Nevada. It even has a cattle brand on the fore end. They were really popular down in the Southwest and on both sides of the border. The Texas Rangers and the Arizona Rangers carried them extensively, and on the south side of the border, Pancho Villa's men absolutely loved them. They were a favorite among Pancho Villa's Mexican troops. So these guns really had a place. Their production numbers didn't approach anywhere near the 92s or especially the 94s, but they had a niche where they were really popular, and law enforcement seemed to be one of those, particularly in the Southwest. There's a lot of state police organizations carried them, a lot of state prisons carried them. And in the 1950s, a collector, a dealer, found several crates of 94 and 95 carbines that a railroad had purchased for security and then had never issued them. So there's a bunch of those out there, and this is one of those. And I could say that it's unfired, but all Winchesters were test fired at the factories, but I believe this one was unfired since it left the factory. And so this one, of course, was intended to be for security on railroads and just never issued. This one's really fascinating to me because it's a time capsule that I can use whenever I want to see what a Winchester that was just picked up off the shelf in a sporting goods store in maybe the 1910s or 20s would look like, as far as how they were finished, the coloration, how the actions should have functioned when they were absolutely brand new and unused. So, you know, obviously this one is an indication of those that were intended for law enforcement or security use back in the Southwest. Probably won't be seeing the episode where I shoot that one anytime soon, although I suspect that sometime before I kick the bucket I'm going to have to put a round or two through it. But I sure do enjoy shooting these guns. If you've watched any of my episodes, you know that I really enjoy this. If you're really interested in these old firearms, don't be afraid to take them out and shoot them. You know, especially these shooter grade ones. You know, get them checked out, make sure they're safe. But they're really enjoyable. And the reality of it is that these shooter grade vintage firearms, they cost similar to what a reproduction would cost today. In fact, some of them are going to be a little less than what a reproduction is. So, you know, you can go out there and buy original vintage firearms and take them out and shoot them. It's worthwhile, and you've got something that'll hold their value. If you buy a reproduction, and I got nothing against reproductions because there's some really good ones out on the market now, but they're going to go down in value, and these vintage firearms will hold their value. So enjoy them, take them out, and enjoy collecting, get into collecting them, and take them out and shoot them and enjoy them. As always, if you're interested in Winchesters, check out the Winchester Arms Collectors Association. Get on their website, get on the forum and ask questions, and most importantly, join up, take advantage of all the benefits of being a member. And I just can't hardly stand it. This was so fun shooting these deluxe carbines that I'm going to have to take a few more shots through them. So if you'll indulge me, we'll take just a few more shots before we call it a day. I sure appreciate you folks joining today. Until next time, happy trails from the Cinnabar.